Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Wishwell Farms on this beautiful sunny Monday morning. The first thing I do before packing this trailer is to fill up with some diesel fuel. Looks like she's full. Takes a lot of diesel fuel to run a farm operation, especially when you got 5 box trucks, 2 pickup trucks, 3 pickup trucks. 2 of them go in the markets, and my personal one. So this diesel fuel tank has to be filled up basically weekly. Right now, every other week. And that's the first thing I do before we send this trailer out to Marysville, is make sure she's topped off. Now I'm gonna back it up and get her loaded for market. All right, let's check on the guys and see how they're doing in here. Looks like they got the deep branching done. Oh, we're getting a little fogged up. Looks like the deep branching's been done, and they are in the middle of lowering. We got some good music playing. All right, looks like they have the tomato plant maintenance under control. I'll show you how today's tomato pick went. It was pretty good. Tomato pick was really good today. Looks like they got about a third of them packed up already. We should have a full pallet with over 100 boxes. And trailer is packed and ready to go. Gavin's heading to Marysville. It is cold and gloomy out today. High of only 64. So that is definitely going to slow down the growth of our sweet corn. It is going to be mid 80s later on this week. That'll help, but these cold days are definitely going to hold it back and potentially keep it from being ready to harvest by 4th of July weekend. Heading up to the transplant house to seed the second seeding of zucchini. Give you a little look in here. This is seeding number 3 of cantaloupe. The second seeding of cucumbers. These are leftover cantaloupes. I'm hanging on to those because back here on the second seeding of cantaloupes, they look terrible. Somehow some 2,4-D drifted in here from another farm. Probably came in through the sidewall right there. It could have been a mile down the road for all I know, but these things are toast. I am not hopeful that these will come out of this damage. So in light of that, I'm hanging on to the leftovers from planting number 1, and that might be enough to plant almost 2 rows of cantaloupe. So planting number 2 is only 6 rows. So we would only have 2 rows instead of 6, unless these come out of that 2,4-D damage. But 2 rows is better than nothing. Right here is cauliflower and broccoli. They look real good. Need another couple weeks to grow yet before they're ready to transplant. Our second planting of field tomatoes, and you can see they got a little bit of 2,4 damage too. I think they'll come out of it, but they're definitely behind, and they're pretty much ready to transplant. Those are leftover pollinator watermelons. I'm letting those die now. We don't need them. And we're down to just a couple little piles here of basil plants to finish up selling at farmers markets over the next 2 weeks. This is leftover seedless watermelon. I just haven't thrown them out yet because I just want to make sure that all the ones we planted in the field are growing well. They are vining off the plastic now pretty good, so I don't think I'm going to have to replant anymore, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to hang on to those for 1 more week, because after that torrential rain that we had 4 or 5 days ago, whatever it was, there were some areas underwater, and if they don't bounce back and continue growing right, at least I have some leftovers I can put in those spots that were killed by the flood. All right, we're planting the June 5th to 7th zucchini planting. 3 more rows, 15 flats. It is June 10th today. I didn't feel like planting them Friday. I was just too busy. 3 days off is not too bad. They'll do fine. These are 72 count pro trays. Putting 1 zucchini seed in each one. And they will be ready to plant into the field in probably 3 to 4 weeks. If you're wondering what the blue color is on the seeds, it's just a seed treatment. Like some sort of fungicide to protect the seed from rotting. If you're an organic grower, you can't use these, you have to use raw seed. I'm not an organic grower. We use organic growing practices in our greenhouse, but I'm not certified. All right, all the zucchini has been seeded. Now I just need to get them packed down with these inserts. It's just the same inserts that I'm planting with, but this is a stack of old ones that are compressed so tight I can't get them apart. So I'm gonna set them right on there on top of the seeds and give them a good hard press all the way around. I usually do this with 2 hands, so it's a lot faster and easier. Give it a little shake in case any of them stick to the inserts. Now they are pressed down into the tray, about 3/8 of an inch. I'd prefer about a 1/2 inch on zucchini, so I'll probably have to press them with both hands. But I'll repeat that process with all of these, and then we'll cover them back up with dirt. All right, so we have our tray with the zucchini seeds already pressed down, and then I'm just going to pull some loose dirt over the top, give them a good pack, and then sweep the dirt back off. And it's done, ready to be watered. The crew is currently down picking grape tomatoes. I'm going to show you how many boxes of red rounds we got today. Not bad. 109 boxes today. A heaping skid. There's Friday's pick, Wednesday's pick, last Monday's pick, last Friday's pick. So these tomatoes are now a week old, but those will all be sold by tomorrow. And we have a few leftovers still from Saturday farmers markets. We'll get cleaned up on those tomorrow too. Looks like we got a nice stack of grape tomatoes there. And they're having an enormous pick today. It is absolutely loaded. I'm guessing they're gonna get at least 300 pints. So I did a quick calculation of all of our tomatoes currently in the cooler. We're sitting at about $14,000 in gross sales here. That'll all be sold basically by next Saturday or maybe halfway through next week. So sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of input cost involved in this that people don't always realize. I have to purchase $7,000 to $8,000 worth of propane at the beginning of the season. Actually, last fall is when I pre-bought my propane for the heating season of this past winter and this spring. Fortunately, that is done now because, well, I don't know. Nights like last night, it got down to 56 degrees. So yeah, a little bit of propane to still heat on these cold nights. All of the clips, the vine clips, the string, the tomato hook strings, all the labor involved. There's a whole slew of things involved in raising greenhouse tomatoes, and it's very expensive. So I'm hopeful that after selling all of these, maybe I'll start to break even. I haven't put a pencil to paper yet to figure out when that's going to take place, because it all kind of gets rolled in together with the entire operation of everything else we sell. But at least we have something to sell right now. You know, if I wasn't a greenhouse tomato grower, I would have nothing to sell. I would be waiting for zucchini and cucumbers, which hopefully zucchini we will start picking here in about 2 days. I saw some full-size ones out there, just not quite ready. So I think today's Monday, so I think Wednesday or Friday we'll start picking a little bit. Cucumbers are probably at least another week or 10 days off. But until I start picking sweet corn and zucchini, cucumbers, green beans, that's a big one, and cantaloupes, you know, we rely completely on these greenhouse tomatoes for revenue to operate our farm. When they get done picking grape tomatoes, I'm going to have them come down here and help me throw out all these boxes. We're going to put them into this here wagon and take them down to my burn pile and get them burnt. And these yellow tubs right here are just scraps and trash, rotten produce that we'll throw out in the field as well. This is getting jammed up in here. this time of year, it's not that big of a deal because we're not loading sweet corn. This is our sweet corn packing area, and this has to all be open for packing sweet corn during July and August and September. But this is very unsightly, and I want to get it out of here before it gets built up anymore. And that is less than 2 weeks of wholesale produce sales right there. Now the strawberry boxes, I'm going to keep those. I'm going to stack them real nice in this pallet, get it wrapped up, and take it back to the Amish. So when I was irrigating last week, I noticed I had a pretty big leak in my 2-inch blue lay flat. That's the hose right here that carries the water out to the vegetable field. Originally, it was just a little pinhole, but it has grown to a hole almost the size of my finger, and it was shooting out pretty good. I'm going down to get that fixed right now. So for just one little leak, we need a coupler because we're going to cut the blue lay flat where the leak is, and a screwdriver, a pair of scissors to cut it, and 2 hose clamps, stainless steel clamps. Sometimes I have to put 2 on each side of the coupler. We'll see if we can get by with just 1 today. While I'm down here, I thought I'd give you a quick look at the sweet corn. It got kind of tore up by the hail. Man, yeah, you can see little hail damage. You know, it shredded the leaves pretty good. Wow. I did not know it was that bad. You know, as a whole, looking out on the field, it looks beautiful. And it's starting to tassel. There's a tassel. It's not coming up out of the whorl too much yet, but it's right there, ready to come up. And here's what the ears look like that start growing off the side. Obviously there's no ear there and no silk yet because it has to tassel first. But I'm thinking by the end of the week, this field will all be tasseled out and we'll probably start seeing some silks emerge from the ears. So I'm down here looking for this hole. I thought I could just drive down here and find it, but there's no wet spot because it's been 4 days since I irrigated and it's all dried up. And sometimes you can see, you know, like a little rusty spot where the leak is. I have 3 lines here because they're the bad ones from previous years that I never picked up. Sometimes a lay flat will go bad in the middle of the season and I'm too busy to mess with it, so I just roll out a new one and hook it up and I leave the old one there. So here we are, probably 5 years worth of lay flat laying there, and 2 of them are junk that I have to discard. All right, I have the water on. I'm looking for a leak. Let's see if we can find it. All right, here comes the water. I can see the lay flat swelling up, getting pressurized. As soon as it builds up pressure up there at the regulator, just up ahead, it should start shooting out wherever this leak's at. Aha! I was close. Right here is where I was showing you the rust spot. I was 3 feet away. Yeah, that's a pretty good leak. Shooting way out onto the plastic. So that's where we're gonna put the coupler in. But first I gotta go back up and turn the water off and release this pressure. A lot of pressure on it still. If I can just get it cut in half, it'll empty out a lot faster. Oh, jeez. I just got soaked. It was a gusher, but I got her cut. You know what? If I turn the gate valve off up here, maybe that'll keep it from draining the entire flat tube. All right, let's see what we can do here. Put my hose clamp on there first. Jam my coupler in there. Halfway in. Snug this up a little bit. Screwdriver is not the best thing to use. I normally have a little hand, oh, I don't know what you call it, like a little socket screwdriver, but I can't find a darn thing. So we're gonna get by with the screwdriver today. Hopefully 1 clamp will do it. It's under a lot of pressure, so sometimes it takes 2 clamps to keep it from leaking. screwdriver wasn't working too well, so it got me my drill. Crank this thing down. All right, let's go turn the water back on to see if we have any leaks. So during that huge rainstorm I had last week, it flooded down through here at my well pit area, and my well pit holes are full of water and it won't drain out. So obviously I don't have the proper amount of, or the proper type of gravel down below there to let that water get away. This is how I turn it on. I just have a piece of angle iron I put down in the gate valve handle and give it a little crank and get her turned on. All right, the repair is not leaking, but now I see another pinhole right beside it. And I hear another one. Oh, it's coming from another repair from last year. I'll just crank those down and maybe that will stop leaking. Maybe they'll both stop leaking when I open this gate valve and let the water into the field. We'll find out here in a second. All right, water's flowing to the field. Let's go see what valves are turned on. I believe it's cucumbers and zucchini and peppers. And the reason I put these 2x4s here is because when you drive across this flat tube, it creates like a back pressure into that pressure regulator and blows out the seals. It usually happens maybe every other year and I have to replace it. So I always go over it really slowly, and I try to put some boards there so I don't actually squish the black lay flat tube. What I need to do is just dig a little trench there and sink it down in a trench, and then I wouldn't have to worry about that. All right, got peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, and zucchini with water running on them. I'll give them about 4 hours of water today and then switch it over to another 12 or 16 rows to get them watered. So if we would have had a little warmer weekend, I think I'd be picking zucchini maybe Wednesday. Oh, there's one that's about full size. See the hail damage? So this first picking or two is going to have hail damage. That's ready. It's not as long as I would like. It seems like the first set of fruit is always a little bit on the stubby side. But once these plants grow up another foot and bush out wider than the plastic, we'll start getting really nice zucchini. You can see the next set of zucchini that's about the size of a hot dog there. That one's going to be nice and long and sleek. But the first ones tend to be a little bit on the darker side and a little bit stubbier and odd shaped. It's like this one here. And it's not going to get much longer. That one's a little better right there. Hail damage. Yeah, I see hail damage on a lot of these. And some cucumber beetles. We're going to have to get those taken care of. And I see a honeybee doing his job, flying around pollinating. Big hail damage there. Cucumbers don't look too hot yet. There's a little cucumber right there, almost the size of a pinky finger. They're struggling a little bit. They need some heat. They're just beat up from the hail and the cool nights. I know it's a little early yet, but here in another week or two, these rows should be completely full of vines. You won't even be able to see the ground. Looks like we got a ways to go for these. But the watermelons, they're vining off nice. You know, the wind always blows them to one side. We'll probably have to throw them back on the plastic so they don't grow out into the drive trail and get run over. Looking real good. Man, I can't believe how cold it is today. I'm almost cold in short sleeves today. It's like 64 degrees. I think that's the high today. Here's the plastic my son and I laid last week. The final 30 rows of 2024. And I still need to lay 3 new ones that got damaged in the rainstorm. And here's another little spot that probably should be fixed before it blows up any worse. Looks like it just pulled out recently, so I'm gonna have to go get my shovel and fix that. But I'm surprised how fast all this dried up. I almost feel like I could lay plastic down there today. But the forecast is showing like 8 days of no rain, so I got plenty of time to get that done before the weekend, because we have some transplanting we need to do before the end of the week. But right now, it is about lunchtime. I'm gonna head in for lunch, and we'll be back out after that to plant some green beans and sweet corn. Back from lunch, and I wanted to show you our grape tomato pick today. Our second largest pick in history. 340 pints. Our largest pick ever was last year, June 26th, 360 pints. So this wasn't too far off. 340 pints will be gross sales of $2,380. Now it's time to plant some green beans and sweet corn. This is the rest of my green bean seed for the season. Still got quite a few bags there. Today we're planting another 80,000 seeds of Valentino from Seminis. That was a bad spot for the camera. After I finished up the green beans, I switched everything over to corn, and I'm out here planting sweet corn right now. Thought I'd stop and just give you a little update on the varieties I'm planting, how much I'm planting, how many more plantings I have. So I'm out in this 20-acre field. I have some early green beans right over there that will be harvested hopefully in less than 3 weeks, probably 2. Because it's supposed to get up to low 90s next week, so that'll really bring on things quick when we get this heat. Because we have plenty of moisture right now, that's for sure. I'm just putting in about 2.5–3 acres today. This is June 10th. Next week, about June 17th to 20th is when I like to put my Labor Day planting in. Corn that will be ready for the weekend prior to Labor Day. Labor Day falls just a little early in the month this year. I think it's like September 2nd or 3rd. I can't remember exactly, but a lot of times it falls later in that first week, like 7th. So I want to make sure we get our corn in before the 20th, because if I get it in after the 20th, there's a chance that it won't be ready for that weekend prior to Labor Day. So I got my corn planting spreadsheet here. I'll show it to you real quick. We're on this planting here. So you can see I've planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm planting 6. I didn't plant Caliber today. I planted Anthem, Nirvana, Xanadu, and Stamina. These are all SH2s, augmented SH2s, also known as extra tenders. There's a couple different trade names for all of those, but they're the best eating and the easiest to grow, in my opinion. You got to keep them isolated from other certain kinds of varieties like sugary and enhanced and standard varieties. I think you even have to keep them isolated from triple sweets. I can't remember. Here's my Labor Day planting, June 15th to 19th, and then I just have 1, 2, 3. 3 more plantings after that Labor Day planting. So I feel like the end of sweet corn planting season is coming quickly. Just 1 more month and it'll be done. And then we can just finish up our final 3 or 4 green bean plantings after that to get me into August, early August, and we'll be done with planting everything, and then it's just getting everything harvested and sold. So yeah, things are going pretty good so far this season. I'm pretty happy with how things are looking, how the plantings have been going. It's just really, really cold today. I saw that it's going to get down to 45 degrees tonight. I don't know if I've ever seen it get that low in mid-June. That's almost unheard of. But next week, the heat wave's coming. I saw 93 degrees midweek. It's going to be a hot one. Well, folks, this is where we're going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed the content, please give it a thumbs up. It'll really help the channel. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it and hope to see you all again real soon. down the farm.